What is up and welcome to Maps on the Map and to Oahu, Hawaii. Now the best way to appreciate the island's natural beauty and breathtaking views are through hikes. In today's video I'm going to be showing you 6 different hikes at 3 different levels of difficulty: beginner, intermediate and advanced level, with tips along the way so you're best prepared for the adventure that awaits. Initially, I thought that these hikes would be chilling, nothing that I can't handle, but boy was I wrong, but more on that later in the video. Let's start off with our hikes for beginners, and in my opinion, one of the easiest hikes that those of all ages and levels of fitness can do, Manoa Falls. Manoa Falls is a scenic jungle trek through a tropical rainforest in Manoa Valley, consisting of a 1.7 mile round trip hike.
So we're at Manoa Falls Trail, heading down to the waterfall to have a look. Although we thought that maybe people would swim in the waterfall, but now we're not sure because everyone looks pretty dry. But we're going to go check it out.
So flash flood, be alert, water may rise without warning, fast moving water may result in serious injury or death.
That's just great. But we came prepared.
We've got our walking boots.
Although I don't think this is going to be too treacherous of a hike. I don't think it'll take long. I think it's about maybe 15 minutes to get to the waterfall.
And just look how beautiful this place is, man.
So the hikes, they're a bit tiring. I didn't think it'd be this kind of uphill. It wasn't too bad, but yeah. You might want to wear suitable footwear, although some people were doing it in trainers and things like that.
You have something in your hair. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's just a fluff.
Oh, thanks.
So we finally made it. There it is. Probably a bit longer than 15 minutes, I'm not going to lie.
At the end of the trail, you are blessed with a 150-foot waterfall that flows down into a small pool. It's also really straightforward to navigate, with on-site parking costing $7 for tourists and loads of signs throughout to ensure you don't get lost. The air is fresh and crispy and you're surrounded by nature and lush greenery in every direction. And this is a living, breathing forest, so if you're lucky, you might spot a bit of wildlife too.
So we got here in the end, here at Manoa Falls. Look at that, a massive waterfall. But yeah, kind of busy, but you can swim in the water if you want to. So that's Manoa Falls clocked, and it actually was a good introduction to hikes here on Oahu Island. So yeah, ready for the next one.
For our next beginner hike, it's another waterfall, this time Waimea Falls, a waterfall located in Waimea Valley, a picturesque botanical garden with over 5,000 different species of tropical plant. Not only is Waimea Valley a great spot for a walk and to get your nature fix, but it's a sacred place for native Hawaiians, including where I got to learn more about Polynesian culture, visiting Toa Luau. If you want to know more about Toa Luau, check out my food guide by clicking the pop-up link or head into the description below. Visiting Waimea Falls, however, is not without a cost, being $25 for adults and $15 for kids. Although it's free if you're going to the luau, so we visited on that day. This is definitely the easiest of all the hikes we did, with it being about 3/4 of a mile distance and perfectly flat paved terrain. Although not as high as Manoa Falls, this waterfall is a thick boy with a huge pool that you're able to swim in and enjoy. Waterfalls out the way, probably the most well-known hike on the island and the easiest of the viewpoints we're going to be visiting in this video is Diamond Head. So Diamond Head is something called a volcanic tuff cone. Basically, after a volcanic eruption took place about 200,000 years ago, the ash and particles settled and cemented to form the iconic landmark. And the hike itself is about 0.8 miles from the bottom to the top.
As you can see, there's a winding path going all the way to the top of the Diamond Head hike.
It hasn't been too bad actually so far. The weather's hot. We came around 1 PM, so it is probably the peak of the hotness here in Hawaii. But overall, there's a nice breeze, some mad views, and yeah, it's good so far.
Although you definitely need walking shoes
If you're doing these hikes, just because of how rocky the terrain is. So yeah, the hike itself isn't as steep as I thought it was going to be initially, but just a heads up, you will need mosquito spray and sun lotion. So we're taking a break for some water. Make sure you bring plenty of water. It stayed cold surprisingly. Okay, so we nearly made it to the top. It's getting a bit steep now, but it hasn't been too bad. A top tip if you come into Diamond Head to have a look at the views and do the hike is you need to book your ticket in advance. It's $5 per person for adults, and they won't let you in if you don't have an advance reservation. In terms of parking, if you want to park on site, it's best to book things early because those parking spaces get taken up. What we did is we parked off site, which is about a 5-minute walk from the entrance to the park, and it's the same $10 fee. So it's a $10 fee for parking, whether you pay in advance or whether you park on the day. Whether you park in the park or out the park, it's still $10.
The reason why this hike is so popular is because it's located on the outskirts of Waikiki, so it's fairly easy to get to. The path to the top is straightforward with railings, stairs and paved inclines to help you get to the top. Once you reach the top, you're blessed with panoramic views of Waikiki, Honolulu and the Pacific Ocean. So that's our beginner hikes, but I get a feeling that you guys want a bit more of a challenge. So next up on the list are our 2 intermediate hikes, Lanikai and the Pink Pillbox hikes. Starting with Lanikai, I'd say this was my favourite hike of the whole trip for the reason that it was challenging, but not like seeing man's life flash before his eyes kind of challenging. And the views, oh my days. These were the best views hands down of the whole trip. This is why Oahu is the paradise of the Pacific. Crystal clear waters, bright blue skies, palm trees, beaches, just perfect. I think at sunrise it would have been even more amazing. As for distance and effort, it's quite a short hike, about 1 mile one way.
So we've started the Lanikai Pillbox hike, which is another hike here on Oahu Island in Hawaii. Now it started off pretty steep with some ropes to help you get up the steep incline, but I actually don't think it's going to be too bad of a hike. Okay, so let's get on with it. Oh, it's already tiring, man. I don't know if it's the heat. Low-key, my fitness ain't where it once was, or the fact that man's had some malasadas from Leonard's Bakery before this hike, which maybe wasn't the best idea. Actually, no, it was the best idea because they were banging. Oh, seems quite far now. On reflection, it does look pretty far.
Once you get to the top, not only are there views for days, but also the pillbox itself, which is a concrete bunker used during World War II. It gives the hike even more aura and history, and it's a great spot for pictures and to take a break and take in those views. On a side note, parking is a bit tricky because the entrance is in a residential area, but eventually you will find something after a bit of driving around. After descending back down to earth, I'd highly recommend checking out Lanikai Beach, a great place to catch some rays and cool down in the ocean. Next up, we've got the Pink Pillbox hike, another intermediate hike that was challenging, but for a bunch of different reasons. First up, finding the entrance to the hike itself was a mission.
Okay, so we've just started the Maili hike, which is basically the Pink Pillbox hike. It started off pretty steep. We don't know if we're going the right way, but we found the entrance to a trail. So let's see what happens. Oh. So I'll see you along some nice viewpoints or at the top of this pillbox hike. Look at these views. You can see over there.
They're a nice rainbow.
Also, excuse the hair, because we went snorkeling earlier, went in the water, and this is what happens to your boy's hair.
Oh look, there's a grey one.
So we've been walking for not long, I'd say 5-10 minutes, and we've come to this tree and we were told by some of the hikers, if you go right, that's the difficult hike. Go left, that's the easy hike.
So here we go. So you'll meet this little marker. Left's easy, and right is pretty steep.
So as you'll see later on in the hike, this was not the right tree marker and we were confused again on how to get to the top.
There's bare trees, man, so I don't know, you'll figure it out.
And then after passing many a tree, I believe this is the tree sign we were looking for. The tree with all the roots, and apparently left is easy and right is hard, but don't quote me on it. All in all, the 1.6 mile round trip was definitely worth it, and we eventually reached the Pink World War II bunker.
So we've reached the top of the Pink Pillbox, and that's the Pink Pillbox, and just look at these insane views overlooking Oahu Island. It's actually insane. It's ridiculous how good this place is, how amazing the views are, the vibes. It's got a bit of everything. It was a long way to get up, I think it's supposed to be a fairly easy hike, but me and Mrs. on the map low-key struggled. I think it's because I'm not used to hiking. It took around about 45 minutes to an hour to get to the top, with a few breaks along the way, but it was 100% worth it, and I recommend this hike to anyone visiting Oahu Island.
And finally, we're going a level up. It's time for an advanced hike. Well, a Maps on the Map advanced hike, because we saw a kid doing the hike like it was nothing. But hey man, it's advanced, okay? Let's go with it. It's an advanced hike, and it's called the Cocoa Head Railway Crater Trail. A test of endurance, fitness, determination, and both physical and mental strength as you ascend over 1,000 steps straight up an abandoned World War II mountain railway track, which was used during the war to transport military supplies. First up, things didn't start great because we were greeted by a warning sign. A misplaced step could make you slip and fall. Absolutely fantastic. Just what we needed. As for my top tips if you want to do this hike, and speaking from experience, do not do this hike during the peak of the day where the sun is at its strongest. It will destroy you. The intensity of the heat is next level. Make sure you bring plenty of water, sunscreen and a hat.
Okay, so we're about to start the Cocoa Head Railway Trail, which looks pretty tiring actually. It's loads of steps basically
Up to the top of that hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it, up there.
But the weather is bare hot, man. The sun is beaming down on us. So I think it's going to be a tough one and not as easy as the other ones. And we also don't see many people here, which is a bit worrying because maybe we're not doing it at the right time of the day. But we're going to give it a go and see how far we get. We're going to start making our way up now.
It's like an old train track. As you can see, it goes all the way right up to the top.
So I'll see you at the top. So I think we've reached about the halfway point. But basically these train tracks start to have gaps in them.
As you might be able to see. So it makes it a bit risky. And there is a bit of a danger sign there. Danger, unsafe tramline bridge, stay off the bridge. Great, bridge may collapse without warning, fantastic. But there's also this thing, this is called Murphy's Bypass, which is I think is a route to bypass the steps with the gaps in.
So yeah, to avoid any injuries, I think we're going to take the bypass just because I'll show you.
The gaps essentially kind of just go through, and I guess the higher you get, the worse the fall. We don't have the energy for that. So yeah.
It's tiring, man. This has probably been one of the most tiring hikes we've done. I think it's because of the sun. There's no shade on this hike, so the sun just whacks down on your back. It's pretty killer, but we'll get there.
Okay, so that little bypass took us basically a minute or two just around this bit where the gaps are, and then it's basically going to continue on up the stairs to the top.
It wasn't that much of a bypass actually, just bypass is the most risky bit. So yeah, that's it. On we go back with the hike. I'm so tired, man. So I've just made it to the top, and this is bare hard, man, especially with the heat. We're really struggling.
Currently behind this kind of building thing, and look, you can see this is where the old track was, where I guess the train came down or something went down and up those railway tracks.
But yeah, this hike came for beginners. We're beginners and we really struggled. We took so many breaks. I don't feel too great. This is how much water we've got left. And we have to go all the way down. Mrs. on the map ain't feeling too good either. So we're just gonna chill here. Okay. So we're just gonna chill here and have a break. And we're just protected from the sun. I'll show you the view in a sec. Once we just get our bearings.
And I am so sweaty.
You can probably tell from my face. This has been the hardest hike we've done. We've done, I think, 4 hikes. This was the 4th. I'm sure there's more challenging ones, but for us, people who don't really hike, this has been next level, man. It's just basically a brutal set of stairs up a mountain. That's basically what it is. We haven't even taken time to appreciate the views. We're just having a break, and then I'll show you. Well, this is Orcs. So it turns out that's not the top, which is just great. That's just flipping great. So we're gonna keep walking, and hopefully the top ain't far, man. Cause yeah, the views from that point were a bit underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Oh God. Oh wow. Now that's a good view. So that's the view from the top of this trail.
Oh, that's nice breeze.
So there is an awesome breeze. So we found another viewpoint, and it's basically the views wherever you look are incredible. Take a look at this. So looking behind me, you can see the whole of Oahu Island, man. And it is special. A special, special place. A beautiful place. And I definitely recommend putting it on your bucket list. So that has been the Cocoa Head Trail. It was a tough one, but now for the journey back down.
You'll be pleased to know that getting down was way easier than going up. And I think that wraps it up for today's video on the hikes of Hawaii.
And that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed the video, then leave a like. Any comments or any questions, then leave them down below. And as always, subscribe to the channel. Till next time, peace.